The Sick Podcast, producer Shayne here, filling in for Tony Marinaro, who, as most of you know by now, is in Milan, taking in the Olympics in person. Very jealous, but at the same time, you know what? I'm excited for this show today. We got the Eric Engels of Sportsnet coming on to talk all things Olympics. We're going to talk Juraj Slafkovsky, tied for second in points in the tournament. How about Nick Suzuki? Some people aren't loving the tournament. What does Eric think? We'll get to that. Get to all things Team Canada and what the rest of the tournament could look like. It's going to be a fun show. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back in 3 short minutes.
It's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now. Got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro,
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
the sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement, et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
That's right. Producer Shayne here. Happy to be with you on this Monday night. Thank you for tuning in to the Sick Podcast. Joining me shortly will be the Eric Engels. But before we get to that, I want to remind everyone about our partners here at the Sick Podcast who make this show possible. And when I say that, I mean it. They actually do make this show possible. We're going to start off with a big thank you to our friends who have been there along the way. Energy Transportation Group, okay? They are a leading asset-light 3PL that's driven to be different. From cross-border freight between Canada, U.S., and Mexico to coast-to-coast shipping in both Canada and the United States, Energy moves it all. They're fast, reliable, and powered by tech that delivers smarter logistics. If you need a real partner in transportation, contact the team at sick@shipenergy.com and see how Energy Transportation Group is changing the freight game. Also, a longtime partner here, Playground. It's hockey night at Playground. As if watching hockey wasn't thrilling enough, now every goal means more action on the felt. Before the puck drops, every poker table is randomly assigned a player from the Montreal Canadiens. And when your player scores, boom, Playground splashes the next pot with up to $200 in chips. Catch every game at Playground's big screens all around the room, so you'll never miss a goal, a play, or a splash pot. And before we get to Eric, he's proudly sponsored by Allard and Aimont. For nearly 50 years, Allard and Aimont has set the standard for HVAC service in Montreal. Their focus is simple: unmatched quality and dependable comfort for your home. Visit allardandaimont.com to learn more. Allard and Aimont, experts in heating, air conditioning, and ventilation since 1977. Without further ado, Sportsnet's very own Eric Engels.
Eric Engels, presented by Allard and Aimont, experts in heating, air conditioning, and ventilation since 1977.
Eric, it's a pleasure to chat with you. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Excellent. I've been loving the Olympic hockey. It's unfortunate to not have the NHL, but right now I think we're being treated to some pretty quality hockey. It's been a ton of fun to watch. How have you enjoyed it so far? How has the Olympic tournament satisfied your hunger?
I've enjoyed it a lot. As you can see in the background here, there's some light coming into my room. So obviously it's not 10 p.m. right now. We're filming in the afternoon. And as we're talking, some news just came out about France suspending Eric Crenon for the fight with Tom Wilson. So they're suspending him for the rest of the Olympics for his comportment on and off the ice. His attitude is actually the word they used in their release before it broke, because it got retweeted by the Hockey World. And I guess the website it was on wasn't able to support the bandwidth of people clicking into it. I think the decision, and I don't know what he's done off the ice, but if it's mainly based on what he did on it, it's a joke. Like to take somebody's Olympic dream away because he got into an altercation with Tom Wilson on the ice, which doesn't represent the values of French hockey, is an embarrassment.
Yeah, look, that's an interesting decision. But I saw a video earlier, and maybe you've seen it too, Eric, that he was actually suspended for punching a goalie in the face multiple times prior to that. So yeah, shaky past. Okay, okay. We don't quite on the team. We don't quite know the whole situation here, but yeah, it's a bit harsh.
They didn't take Tim Bozon on the team, who was a former Montreal Canadiens prospect who put in the best possible performance playing injured to make his way onto that team, and for whatever political reason wasn't taken there. I don't know the ins and outs of Pierre Crinon's life with Team France and what he's doing in the Olympic Village, but for the tournament officials to not view anything worthy of supplemental discipline, and for them to essentially suspend their own player because he doesn't represent, quote unquote, the values of French hockey. What are the values of French hockey other than getting dummied by every other nation that's playing in these games? I mean, I don't know. It's anyways, this is a first take on the news I'm seeing. But I think if this is their take, they have a lot to learn about hockey in general, if that's the case.
That's it. No, This is an very odd situation, but Eric, I mean, let's dive into this. I mean, you brought up the topic, so let's go. It all started with the hit on Nathan MacKinnon, right? Crino goes in with the elbow in the face. It's a clear head shot, right? And Tom Wilson takes exception. He goes up to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He's like, hey, listen, if you keep doing this, I'm going to have to step in. They kept doing it. Wilson stepped in. Wasn't much of a fight, but the message was sent.
Well, what pissed Wilson off is he laid off on a few hits. And you could hear, if you watch the broadcast clearly, you could hear him warn guys that he's coming.
Yeah.
So as soon as, you see a high hit to MacKinnon, there's a warning issued. And that's what, Team Canada will love about Tom Wilson. That's the values of a guy like that. Not to mention the goal he scored, which was, perfect. Great forechecking play. Great goal. Anyways, look, I'm a little baffled by that news. I don't know what he did off the ice, but whatever he's done on it certainly doesn't merit having his Olympic dream torn away. Even one game shy of where it's going to end regardless. It's just a ridiculous situation. I'm that's about all I'll say about it, because I think the more compelling topics are what's happening with the other games and where we're going in this tournament, right? And Team Canada so far looks very good, with the caveat that I think they can be better. And I think they expect to be better too.
That's the crazy part. They've outscored their opponents 20-3 throughout 3 games, but there's still room for, being better. Like you say, it's pretty interesting to think about. Now, look, this is the Montreal Canadiens podcast, so we are going to talk Suzuki and Slafkovsky quite a bit on this show, and might as well start with Suzuki while we're on the topic of Team Canada. Listen, you're plugged in, you're online. I'm sure you've seen the comments, the tweets. There's a certain sector of the Canada fan base. Just so happens they mostly reside in Toronto or Ottawa. Coincidence. But they've been, pretty harsh on Suzuki's performance, some people saying he doesn't even belong on the team. That's a bit much for my taste. I'm curious to hear what you have to respond to those critics.
Yeah, listen, the discourse around him is hyperbolic. Break it down game by game. His first one, he played a great game. He was all over the ice, great positioning, great plays, great touches, gave MacKinnon a ton of touches. I don't think through the first 2 games that Brandon Hagel was the Brandon Hagel I expect to see. One of the best 5-on-5 scorers in hockey, great in transition, great speed, great on the forecheck. Game 2 was a total struggle for him. Really wasn't sharp. And that affected Suzuki. It affected MacKinnon. Game 3, that's not the best version of Nick Suzuki. It's just not. Let's call it what it is. Let's be honest. Is he terrible? No. Does he not belong on the team? No. Is he likely coming out of the lineup? I don't think so. But if he stays in, he needs to play a lot better. And one of the faults I saw in his game and in Hagel's game is the inability to get MacKinnon the puck through the neutral zone. You got to get him. The space that he can create by getting the puck early in the neutral zone and pushing the defense back gives a creator like Nick the opportunity to set things up in the offensive zone. It gives a dump into the corner that Hagel could be elite as an F2 or F1. Like, I don't think the chemistry has really been there between the 3 of them since the start of the tournament. And I don't think, based on the way the lines are, I don't see a reason once Point went down to keep MacKinnon away from McDavid and Celebrini. I think that should be the line. I think it should not be a hidden card that John Cooper's playing in the last 3 minutes of a period. I think they should be together for an entire game. They just look right together. Celebrini's, outside of Slafkovsky, the most impressive story of these entire weeks, possibly ahead of Slafkovsky. At 19 years old, to see him come into this tournament and absolutely just fuck shit up, he's been unbelievable.
Couldn't have said it better.
I'm sorry for putting it that way, but you expect him to be, when he made the team, he was locked into the top 6. I don't think there was even a debate around the table of the guys making that team and putting it together that he should be there. I thought he would have played with Crosby. They put him immediately with McDavid, and That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to live up to making sure that Conor can be the best player on this team and in the world.
Yeah.
And number 2 on the list is like Celebrini. That's the status he's elevated himself to, playing on that line. And it doesn't matter if it's with Wilson, and it doesn't matter if it's with McKinnon. He's been dominant. Like his closing speed on the forecheck is just as effective as McDavid's. His ability to complete and make plays is second to only McDavid. And it's blown me away. I don't see a reason for McKinnon not to be with those two guys. Suzuki's clearly better in the middle of the ice. I think his versatility keeps him in the game, but his versatility is not enough of a card for him to stay in the game. Like right now, there is a risk that he'll be pulled out of this lineup. I don't think it's likely to happen. I'm not betting on it. If I had to bet on it, despite Jarvis looking good in game 2 and in parts of game 3, he's probably on the outside looking in. Marchand's coming back in, and we know that. I just think, I said this from the start, the line that makes the most sense to me is Suzuki, Reinhart, and Hagel. And I think that those 3 guys will complete each other extremely well. They play at roughly the same pace, and you've got a great goal scorer in Hagel, and a great goal scorer in Reinhart, and a great playmaker in Suzuki, and 3 guys that are defensively responsible. I just like the makings of that. I've said from the start, I like the idea of Marchand with Bennett and Wilson. I'm team chaos. I've seen the restraint in Wilson's game. I've seen it in Marchand Bennett's. I'm not concerned about them doing something that gets them knocked out of the tournament. And if one of them, for whatever reason, does something that knocks them out of a game, I mean, Bo Horvat has been really good. So like, I don't see an issue there. Like that's the way I'd be assembling the lines. I'm going to give John Cooper and his coaching staff the benefit of the doubt. They're great coaches. I think all the testing that they've done should lead them to the answers that we're talking about right here. Like I think they probably have those answers. I don't think John Cooper needs to continue to put it in his pocket that like when I want to, I could put McKinnon with McDavid and Celebrini. Like just do it. They're
permanent.
Nobody can contend with that line right now. And you'll see how it goes in the gold medal game where you might opt for a better balance. Like
that's it.
We'll see.
Because that's it, right? I can see the thinking of John Cooper wanting to spread out his offense, having McDavid, Crosby, and McKinnon on 3 separate lines. You know, you're rolling out lines here, and every one of them can hurt you. But that first line, when those 3, talking about McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini, are together, there's just always something happening. And the other team doesn't even have possession of the puck most of the time. Like, you know, maybe you're worried about, okay, giving up chances and then the other lines can't keep up. It's completely opposite. Like, and no disrespect to Wilson either. Wilson's done quite well on that first line. But could you imagine that line with, you know, Marchand and Bennett, and you swap in Horvat in there, who's been fantastic as well? There needs to be some kind of adjustment.
Or you swap in Horvat into Suzuki's line, or you know, I don't think you're touching Crosby, Marner, and Stone. They've been fantastic.
Great.
But I think Horvat, Suzuki, Reinhart, and Hagel, and Bennett, Marchand, and Wilson, there's room to get a mix of Bennett, Suzuki, and Horvat into their shifts. That's just the way I see it. I love Tom Wilson. I love the way he's playing, but I don't think you're losing anything, or you're putting together a line that you can't use regularly if you put Marchand, Bennett, and Wilson together. Like, and I don't think, based on the way McDavid's hitting, based on the way McKinnon's hitting, based on the way Celebrini's playing, that you're missing some sort of physical element on that top line. So
they can handle themselves.
Feels like an easy solution at this point.
Look, I think I trust John Cooper to be open-minded, right? And he's made in-game adjustments. I was a little disappointed to see that, you know, after game 2, well, to end game 2, Suzuki was back in the middle. McKinnon was on the first line, and it was going well. And then he goes back to what was the lines for game 1, essentially, in game 3. Again, I think there's room for adjustments there. But, Eric, can we talk about why Suzuki is better in the middle than on the wing? Like, what makes that a reality, in your opinion?
I mean, it's just, that's his natural position. You know, when you're on the wing, you're frozen out a little bit in terms of starting the play and finishing it. look, I think people are making a little bit too much of Nick Suzuki's game right now. Is he at his height of his abilities, especially in an opportunity playing with McKinnon, where you'd expect that, they'd go gangbusters and score a lot of goals at 5-on-5? I'm not going to sit here and say that's where it's at. Again, game by game, breaking it down. First game was really good. Second game, less good from both wingers there. And I don't think McKinnon was full steam either in that second game. And the third game, I don't think that was Nick at his best. And I just, but even that said, his positioning has been rock solid. His defensive play has been rock solid. Like, he's created some stuff, especially first shift that he had with Hagel and McKinnon in the France game, created great couple scoring opportunities. Like, yeah, it's a little hyperbolic to sit here and say he's not good and he doesn't belong in this and that, and he should come out of the lineup for Marchand. Like, I think his versatility keeps him in there, but it won't be enough to keep him in there moving forward. Like, he has to play better, and he can, and he probably will. I'm not really worried about it. But as far as like wing versus center, there's obvious pitfalls, but it doesn't really. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a reason where you might look a little less comfortable than you normally do. But at this point, 3 games in, at the level that Nick plays at, that anybody who plays for Team Canada plays at, Crosby and McKinnon played a lot together in the Four Nations, leaving one of them forced to the wing. Jack Hughes didn't look good at Four Nations because he was forced on the wing, and look at him this time around. He's been great. Eventually you adjust, and like, you hope eventually is not by the end of the tournament. It's got to happen now.
Yeah, that's it. But I think that's why we're even having this conversation, is that we know what he can do. Like, Suzuki can be a game breaker. Like, he can make a difference.
I think everybody knows.
Right now it's, but the funny part is he's actually had a good tournament statistically speaking. And we have this graphic here, which doesn't tell the full story, of course, of chances created for every player essentially in the tournament. This is what it looks like. Suzuki is 27th of every player in the tournament for chances, scoring chances, contributions. Now, again, doesn't tell the whole story. However, you look at the players in order, it adds up.
Fourth among Canadians is what I see.
Not bad.
Oh no, that's Bo Horvat. Sorry.
5th. McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, Horvat, Suzuki, Crosby, Suzuki, 6th.
Yeah, that tracks with what I've seen too. Doesn't mean he can't play better. Like, I think everybody knows he can play better. I think there's a lot of people wondering if he's the one who's going to come out with Marchand coming in. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not going to sit here and eliminate it as a possibility. Now we're doing this right now, and it's 3:30 in the afternoon, or now it's closing in on 4. I don't know if Canada's already practiced today. We're not in Italy. So we'll see what gets revealed over the next 2 days. But anyways, there's a lot of Olympic hockey going to happen between now and their next game.
Oh boy. Yes, there is. And look, we're not in Italy, but Tony is. And Tony actually got a chance to run in to Nick Suzuki. Let's look at this picture here. We don't know if there was a conversation had or whatever, but I'm sure Tony can rub off some of the good energy on Nick. Hopefully, maybe not too much of the hot chocolates. Tony was raving about those hot chocolates this morning. But anyways, moving along now.
Smart move by Nick to wear a hat in that picture so he doesn't get hit with the spray bottle.
Spruits. He hasn't done the spruits in a while. I think the comment section is a bit mad at him for that, but I should bring a bottle. I'll be filling in for him 3 times this week, so I might do the spruits myself. But look, moving along now, I think we've talked enough about Suzuki. A little more on Team Canada, however, because we've talked about the forward groups, Eric, but we haven't talked about the defense. And the defense was a big question mark for a lot of people heading into the tournament. And look, Cale Makar, you know what you're getting. Devin Taves, you're pretty much comfortable there. Thomas Harley has been an incredible story so far. I've loved him. So has Drew Doughty. The rest, however, how have you felt about the D-corps?
Yeah, my opinions are pretty congruent with yours there. Really love what I'm seeing from Thomas Harley. Travis Sanheim has maybe been a little less convincing. Obviously, a bad giveaway by Parayko on the goal that got scored against France. It's going to happen. Like, you're not going to play perfect all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bennington's been solid behind them. No concerns about the goaltending, where there were the real concerns coming into this tournament. I just love what I'm seeing from Drew Doughty. I think Drew Doughty has been fantastic. I think his leadership is so valuable to this team, which is a big reason why he made it. I think people look so hard at the statistics beforehand and see he's not putting up points in LA. He's minus 11 and this and that. Like, LA doesn't score goals. He's put in situations where he's going to end up on the minus side of the ledger no matter what because they don't score goals. Defensively, he's been really solid this year, and he is up. I thought he played well at the Four Nations, considering he was coming off ankle, the ridiculous broken ankle situation where I talked to him earlier this year about like how the hell he was able to play those games. And he was like, honestly, I wasn't. Like it was really hard. And he got smoked a couple times in those games. Like,
I remember.
Smoked by Brady Tkachuk and just bounced back up and made great plays. I find that Drew Doughty is playing fantastic hockey for Team Canada right now. He's a leader. He's a guy that you can tell is calming things down for everybody. He's poised with the puck. His confidence is super high, and he's just being the solid defensive presence and mind of this entire decor, and that goes a long way. Sanheim can be better. Parayko can be better. Morrissey's an important player in terms of the mobility that he brings. Theodore, not noticing him all that much, which is probably not a bad thing for him. For a guy who skates really well, can transport the puck as well as he can pass it. I don't see anything egregious or anything that pops my eyes, which is a good sign for him and the role that he's playing. Do I think Morrissey could do better than him in Sanheim? Potentially. I do. I love Josh Morrissey's game, and I particularly like in the offensive zone and his ability to walk the line and get shots through. Outside of Cale Makar and Zach Werenski, he's one of the best at that specific skill. And with a team like Canada, which gets the inside of the ice, it's an important thing to have in the lineup. So if he can come back for the quarterfinals, that'll be big news for Canada. I don't have any complaints about the players on this team right now. Like they've played well. I think the chemistry can be a little better, and I think it comes down to the little line tweaks that we discussed earlier and what we'll see. Parayko can play a bit better, and I expect him to. I think he'll step up big time after the last game. He was great in Four Nations. I'm not concerned about him. And, the goaltending, like I said, this was the biggest worry, and right now it looks like one of the biggest strengths. Like I don't care about the goals that got past Binnington. The confidence that he's projecting to his team is the reason he's been put in this situation 2 years in a row and come out looking like he's ready for it. I think Thompson and the way he performed in his one game against Switzerland will give the coaching staff the confidence that if for whatever reason things go south quickly for Binnington, they won't have to hesitate to make a change. That's valuable.
Listen, allowing 3 goals in 3 games and shutting out Czechia first game, that's telling right there. There are no gaping holes really on Team Canada, and we didn't expect them to be either. But like you mentioned, there is still another level that we think they can get to. Do you think they kind of approach these first 3 games as sort of I don't want to say a practice, but more of a feeling out, getting chemistry, getting your legs under you type of thing? Or did they really just try to go out right away?
I think that question could be answered from 2 different vantage points. Like from the coaching staff's perspective, I think they were certainly testing certain things to see what options they might go to if the primary ones don't work. So I understand the lines and the way they were composed, but a big part of me believes that Cooper probably knew that one way or the other, this was going to end with McDavid, McKinnon, and Celebrini together. Like, I think he was testing certain things in case that nuclear option doesn't really produce what you'd want it to. I think, again, Wilson, Bennett, and Marchand can bring a line that creates so much momentum for the next one. And like, if the next one is Crosby, Marner, and Stone, those 3 guys have been phenomenal. Yeah. They're going to be hard to beat. Like, as far as the players are concerned and the way they've approached these 3 games, they've played like Hockey Canada, like the right way, the winning way, the tracking back hard through the middle of the ice and checking and positioning and never cheating for anything, even in a game where you want to run the goal differential up against France. Like, these are the subtle things that the people who are ragging on Suzuki don't notice. Like, there is a couple of sequences where Hagel and McKinnon are in on a 2-man forecheck, and like he has the ability to press because the puck's coming loose, and he just held his position up high to make sure that it's not a numbers game going the other way. That's a little stuff that makes Suzuki a really good player, but it's also the little stuff that makes up every player that dresses for Hockey Canada. That's just what's expected of you, that you will not cheat the game in any type of way to produce something, because you have enough within you to never have to cheat the game. So I haven't seen the players themselves dipping their toe in the water. This is a full dive in. I think the coaches can adjust certain things to create more of the momentum from shift to shift that they're looking for, more of the consistency and congruence that they expect to see with the lineup that they have. And I think it's as simple as the changes that we're talking about from a lineup perspective. Now, quarterfinals will start, and maybe their lines will look exactly the same at the start of the game. But if they continue to play the way we've seen so far, it's going to change. Like, I don't think they're going to be like, we should keep going with this. The value of testing those things in the preliminary round for them was knowing what options they can turn to if their primary type of lineup option doesn't produce what they expected to see from it in the first period of the next game. Like, but I like the confidence. I mean, it's Team Canada. It's the best team in the world. And the United States, with respect to them, and I expect that they're going to get better and better as this tournament rolls along. They don't look to be their equal so far. Like, they don't. I'm more concerned about their goaltending. I don't think their defense has been spectacular. And outside of a few of their forwards, and I'm not seeing much chemistry on more than just one of their lines, Like, we haven't seen much chemistry between Hagel, McKinnon, and Suzuki together. There's like 3 or 4 lines for the Americans, and I don't think it's like working so well that they can't be contemplating shifting things around. So we'll see where it goes. I would expect they're going to be better and better. The thing that stands out to me is like, I'm not sure what we're going to get from the US in their next game. Even presuming it's Sweden that gets there, it's going to be a real tough out for them. But like, like looking at Sweden's goaltending and wondering if they're going to get past Latvia, and the way they've run their bench has been, I thought
the coaching. Oh my God, the coaching.
Well, I thought Sam Hallam butchered the Four Nations. I thought he was terrible, and he's not exactly building up a strong reputation on what we've seen from Sweden so far. So, but the goaltending is a huge concern for Sweden with what we've seen from their 2 guys.
That's it.
To the point where, like, I wonder if they'll dress Wallstad for the next game.
At that point, you have nothing to lose. Like, you haven't gotten much out of the other 2. So, look, let's take a look at the next few matchups here this week. It all starts tomorrow throughout the day, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern. It's Czechia, Denmark. The winner plays Canada. And then it's Sweden, Latvia. The winner plays USA. Germany, France. Winner plays Slovakia. Switzerland, Italy. Winner plays Finland. Look, on paper, a lot of these matchups should be landslides, but we have seen upsets here, Eric. Do you foresee a potential upset with these matchups? Well,
the first things first, I think that Denmark can give Czechia a really hard time. I haven't been impressed with Czechia so far. Pasternak, who's such an important player for them, has not gotten a lot of clean touches in this tournament so far. And that needs to change if they're going to do what they're expected to do against Denmark. Mm-hmm. Sweden, like I said, if their goaltending doesn't change, if it's Gustafsson in the net and he doesn't play better than the first 2 games, if it's Markstrom in the net, he doesn't play better than the last one, if it's Wallstedt in the net and he's not better than the other 2, that's got like upset written all over it with Latvia. And like, that's a crazy thing to say about a team like Sweden with the power that they have up front, but the defense that they've assembled for this tournament. And that defense, which is quote unquote the best in the tournament, I don't think they are, by the way. I think the States has the best defense in the tournament, but a lot of people believe it's Sweden. Well, they better freaking step up, because their goaltending is not giving them something better. And, Germany is going to walk on France. Like that's not going to be a match. Even if Germany hasn't been at their best, they're going to crush France, and Switzerland is going to do the same to Italy. So I think, moving forward through the tournament, like Germany is going to be a tough out for Slovakia. Finland will have a hard time with Switzerland, but you'd expect them to prevail. I'm not expecting the Danes or the Czechs to give Canada. I don't think either of them are a match for Canada. And if Sweden finds its goaltending against Latvia, well, that makes them a tough out against the U.S. The other thing that people have to consider with these games is that everybody who wins that play-in game is playing back-to-back against a rested team. And at this level, that's a factor.
That's it. The quarterfinals are on Wednesday, so it's right back to it. And then the semifinals are Friday, and the gold and bronze. Actually, the bronze is on Saturday. The gold is on Sunday. So they're spreading those out. But it's going to be interesting to follow along. I mean, who had Slovakia thumping is a big word here, but thumping Finland in the first game 4-1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Well,
Anything
I think
can happen.
That was probably the best game of Juraj Slafkovsky's life. That game.
Disagree.
Not just the production, the way he played, the maturity with which he played. He was so dominant on the ice. The details in his game were proof positive of the development that Adam Nicholas and Martin St. Louis have done with him. But the mindset that Slafkovsky has is turning him into not only the player the Canadians hoped he'd be when they drafted him first overall, but perhaps something even better than that. And it's to know that he's just 21 and know what's coming for him. That's serious. And even if Slafkovsky tops out from an NHL standpoint as a 70 to 75 point player, as a guy who puts up 35 goals, 35 assists year after year, it's the detail and the leadership and dominance of his game and the power that he brings and the skill that he plays with, that if that's his top end with all the 200-foot machinations of it, this is going to be it's going to be one of the better, more complete players in the world. And I think he's trending there at 21. For him to be there right now, to be that level of player, especially from where he's come from, right? People forget when he was drafted first overall as a 17-year-old kid who dominated the Olympics, the World Championships, not against NHL players, and never had to play that style of game coming to the league. He stepped into the league as the youngest player in the world at that NHL level, and had to learn a lot about how to play hockey.
That's it.
And the reason it's been successful to this point, and the reason there was some growing pains, and there still will be along the way, is because of his attitude. He has accepted that it's a process for him to get to where he is, and he's still in that. He's in that. He's turning 22 March 30th. He's in that for another 4 years before he's a complete player, before he's a complete finished product. So if you're a Canadians fan, I think you should be pretty excited about that. I know my colleague Elliot Friedman at Sportsnet used different terminology, which I won't use, to describe how you should feel about what you're seeing from Slafkovsky at the Olympics. But just the concept of what he will become based on the developmental arc of his career is it's pretty exciting.
Exciting is the right word. And look, I can't even imagine how Slovakian fans feel seeing this guy on the ice. They've had some star players represent their country, but this is at another level. He is tied for second in points in this tournament. Okay, the only guy who's got more is McDavid, Conor McDavid, who's got a point a period. Nuts, but he's second, right? He's tied with Celebrini and Crosby. He's in that conversation.
And 5 of the 6 points came against Finland and Sweden. You know, he's not against Italy. Like he's really doing something impressive, and it's not just the points; it's the way he plays.
That's it. Now, look, before we get back to Slav, however, I think it's a perfect opportunity, for me to tell our listeners about a few of our partners here at the Sick Podcast. And listen, the Geloso Beverage Company have been a supporter and a partner here with us for so long, and we thank them for that. And look, we're reminding everybody that for big games, and there are some big games this week, you want the best beers on your team. Whether it's La Bittt at CB IPA with its bold flavor, La Bittt at CB Lager with its exceptional smoothness, or La Bittt at CB Ultra Lager, which is ultra light and ultra refreshing. They always have a place on your team. La Bittt at CB, brewed for special occasions, and of course, drink responsibly. I want to tell everybody, of course, about the Slush Buster. This winter has been a joke, but luckily, Slush Busters got you covered. It is the new innovative snow brush designed to tackle winter's mess with ease. From heavy slush to stubborn ice, the Slush Buster clears it all quickly. Smarter, stronger, and built for Canadian winters. The Slush Buster keeps your car clean and your hands dry. You can use code TONY15 for 15% off of your order. It's only available for the first 500 purchases. And if you're trying to make a little bit of money this week, well, head on over to Betway, okay? Because you can go all the way with Betway and get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 years or older. Please play responsibly. Back to big number 20 now. Juraj Slafkovsky, who obviously on Team Slovakia has a different role than he does with the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, he is the focal point of Team Slovakia's offense. Everything revolves around him and, to a certain extent, Dalibor Dvorsky, who is having a great tournament. Such is not the case with the Habs, right? The Habs have a very spread out offense. You got Caulfield, you got Suzuki, you got Demidov, you got Slafkovsky. You could go down the line, right? So it's more spread out. But do you think that he could actually benefit and do better with added responsibilities in Montreal?
Well, I think he's already got them. I think they're already on his plate, and he's just going to become more and more prominent as the games go along. He's going to come back to Montreal with a lot of confidence, hopefully not too much fatigue. There's a good avenue for Slovakia to advance through this tournament. You know, that they have a good opportunity to play themselves into medal contention, like they did last time around because of Slafkovsky. So you hope that it's not an emotional dip for him coming back to Montreal, or a physical one, because it's a lot. Been a lot of hockey to this point of the year, and the pressure and stakes are huge. He's played exceptionally well through 3 games of the Olympics. And much like we talk about in Montreal, it's the next one that matters most. You know, the next one matters most for obvious reasons in terms of where we're at in the tournament. But his mentality has to adjust to that. And it's mentally draining. It's a lot. He's not wearing a letter. He's the captain of that team. Like, it's almost ridiculous that he's not the captain of that team. I understand the players that are there. I understand the seniority. I understand Thomas Tatar and everybody else, but those guys know who's leading the bus here. So, look, super impressed with Slav. We'll be super impressed if his next game, which is the real pressure one, is his best one of the tournament. You almost have to expect it at this point with what we've seen from him so far. I know he expects it of himself. And that's the exciting part. It's the mentality that he has. It's the fact that he wants to go out and dominate and be the man. And I think we learned, even going back last year at the beginning of the run the Canadians went on through the post 4 Nations. I understand Suzuki put the team on his shoulders. I understand what Caulfield did, what Hudson did. The more the games got important, and you could see everybody start to squeeze their sticks a little bit as the Canadians had chances to like kind of clinch the playoffs and choked a few times. The best player on the ice was Slav. He just has that ability. That should be the most exciting thing for Canadians fans about this player.
Bingo.
The more the games get tight and important, the more he raises his game. And that's huge for his future and their future.
I mean, what does that say for the playoffs? Right? I mean, when he was drafted, the talk was about, okay, this could be a playoff type of player, right? Hard, heavy, big, does those things that you need in the playoffs to wear down the opposition for up to 7 games. This is a different type of tournament because it's 1 game elimination. 1 game matters. And in that game, which is essentially game 7, if you put it in that context, he rises up to the occasion and he's the best player on the ice.
Yeah. And I think the playoff
whole new level here.
I think the playoff experience, and this will be probably the last point we'll make on Slav, but like I think the playoff experience, the emotional ups and downs of the playoffs last year against Washington, it was a very emotional series, helped Slav and a lot of these players grow significantly. I don't think we're seeing, I understand Demidov flew onto the scene and did something incredible right away against Chicago. And, you know, if he didn't have those 5 playoff games under his belt, I don't think we're seeing this version of him this early in his career. And this is as someone who said that he'll debut as a star in the league and become a superstar pretty quickly, just like Lane Hudson. Slav was a huge part of the learning curve for him. Like what we've seen from him this year, if he didn't get those 5 games of playoff experience where he was emotionally destabilized by like what was happening, like he grew up a little bit in that series and over the summer and processing it and understanding what it really takes to play at the level he needs to see from himself to be content with his game. There was so much value in those 5 games in the playoffs, like for everybody. And it wasn't really resemblant of like an actual 5-game series. I think the Canadians could have pushed that thing 7. One way or the other. Their goaltender got hurt. A couple things happened in the series that just, they were right there, and the Washington Capitals felt they gave them a lot more than just a 5-game fight. So it was valuable. It was valuable, and it's gonna be valuable from here to the end of the season in terms of how the Canadians approach the rest of things, with the standings being as tight as they are in the position they find themselves in, and hopefully beyond that.
That's it. Well, as we wrap up this show, Eric, let's take a look back, or go back to Team Canada here and kind of look ahead, see what's in front of them here. We're getting ahead of ourselves. A lot of people are, by talking about the gold medal game. Look, nothing's won yet, okay? But in order to get to that gold medal game and eventually win it, what do you think Canada has to do?
They just have to keep getting better, like everybody else in the tournament. That's the nature of this. And if you go back to 2002, you watch the preliminary games, that was not Canada at their best. They lost the game 5-2 to Sweden to start the tournament, if I remember correctly. They made a goaltending change. They had a nail biter in the second game, and then, started to emerge and get better and better. 2010, they ran their way through the tournament, got better and better. 2014, they weren't explosive offensively, but Carey Price was impenetrable, and the defense just stepped up to a point where it was like, you're not beating them. They had that 1-0 win over the U.S. It was the most dominant 1-0 game you've ever seen in your life. That's what needs to happen here. Look at the Americans. So far through this tournament, not blown away by what I've seen from them. And yet the potential for them to elevate as we go along here, if they don't, they're going to be in trouble. So that's the nature of these lose and you're out tournaments, right? Like, you got to keep getting better. It sounds cliche, and it's an obvious point, but it's the truth. For as good as Canada's been so far, they need to be better. So we'll see.
That's it. Look, Eric, last thing, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about number 97, because what he's accomplished so far and will probably continue to accomplish. We'll be talking about this for many, many years to come. I have a feeling 9 points in 3 games is outrageous, even for his standards. Like, first Olympics. I get that he's in the prime of his career, but this is just insane. And Eric, it's not even just the points. Every single shift, this guy is terrorizing, emphasis, terrorizing the opposition. It's not fair.
Listen, there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the best player in the world. Being labeled the best player in the world, you have to live up to that. Not every game, every shift. And that's what we're seeing from Conor McDavid. Like, he's the best player every single time his feet touch the ice. And that, to me, speaks to his greatness and where he will fall in that legacy of being one of the greatest of all time, if not the best ever. And that's not with disrespect to Wayne Gretzky or Bobby Orr or Mario Lemieux or Sidney Crosby. It's evolution. Like, it's just evolution. Nobody's played the game like him before, and it'll be a long time before we see somebody who can play it at a level that nobody has played before them. Like, Celebrini is working his way up the ladder. I mean, it's to see what he's doing right now tells me that, like, he'll be in that conversation. And we may not have used generational when he was drafted. I think it was used, it's an overused word to begin with, but it was used around Connor Bedard. And Connor Bedard is a flat out superstar who doesn't play with the same level of detail as a kid who's a year younger than him. And I don't think he holds up to that title the way this kid does. But bring it all back to McDavid. Like, you are playing in front of Crosby, who now is the all-time leader in Olympic history. And if Crosby had 2 Olympics he wasn't robbed from, he'd be miles ahead of anybody else on that list. McDavid, who's got a couple more in front of him, is going to end up number 1. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And I think it's, everything McDavid does should impress everybody, but to see him on this stage with the pressure that he carries live up and surpass expectations is to know how great he actually is. He'll go down when he is done, and I don't care what the numbers say, as the best player ever. So good for him.
I can't disagree, Eric. He is the most talented hockey player that has ever played. I think that's fair to say. Like, no one has been more talented than him.
It's evolution. It's what it is. I like watching him truck guys over also. Like, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Insane.
If you're out there and saying, like, Connor McDavid isn't one of the best of all time already, him and Cale Makar, by the time their careers are done, it's always going to be debate. Nobody will have a definitive answer on it. And no one will unseat what Gretzky has done from a numerical standpoint. But Wayne Gretzky would sit here and tell you that he's not as good as Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby. Like, and it's a ridiculous conversation anyways. It always has been. It's not quite as crystal clear as, like, basketball, where Michael Jordan is undisputed best ever. People who want to debate about, like, LeBron, or, like, that's not, even I, who's not, like, a basketball connoisseur, would not put LeBron in the same sentence as Jordan in terms of what they accomplished in their careers and the dominance level that they both asserted. McDavid, the sad thing about it is, like, the debate will hinge on as far as his legacy is concerned, on whether or not he has the rings, at least gets one, and he's been right there. And I'm not sure the Oilers are ever going to have a better opportunity than the last 2 that they just had, which is disturbing when you see McDavid playing at the level he's playing at. He's insane right now, like, insane. So, and I'll close it, but just by saying, like, you think about the debate for the Hart Trophy this year, how Celebrini's got 81 points and he's like freaking 41 or 43 ahead of the next guy on his team. And the Sharks are 4 points out of the playoff spot with, like, 1 game in hand. You think about what Crosby has done for the Penguins this year and how bad they would be without him. You think about McKinnon, who's got 40 goals and has been the most dominant player in the world, probably. And McDavid is he not leading in points?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, this is going to be an all-time this is going to keep me up at night in terms of my own voting for that trophy here. So anyways, can't wait to watch the rest of this tournament. Can't wait for the Canadians to come back. They're back at practice tomorrow, and this was fun talking to you, man.
Absolutely. Eric, we are lucky to watch that team play, and I consider myself lucky to be able to talk to you. Thank you for your time. We'll talk again later.
Thanks, buddy. Be well.
You too. That was Eric Engels of Sportsnet. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I will be filling in for Tony for the rest of the week, but not every day, okay? We're going to try to get Tony on after games where Canada plays, which means I should be on again on Tuesday and on Thursday, and Tony should be on Wednesday and Friday. But nonetheless, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. If you're not subscribed yet, we encourage you to do so. Check out our other shows as well. We have other shows that talk about the Olympics, other sports. We have the Sid Sixero show that just launched and is doing amazing. Even if you hate the Leafs or anything Toronto, I strongly recommend you go check it out. Him and Jeff do quality work. Myself and Simon the Snake Boisvert give you a show every Monday and Thursday on the prospects, young players, the up-and-coming guys, the draft. At Trust the Process. If you haven't checked it out yet, I please encourage you to do so. We have En Mode Rocket with Vincent Demuy and Cédric Blondin, who give you everything you need to know about the Laval Rocket. And Pierre Maguire and Jimmy Murphy give you the eye test every single day, especially for the Olympics. They're at noon live, but usually they go 4 p.m. live. So we have a whole catalog of content for you. So you'll find something for your liking no matter what. Thank you to Sammy and Yellow back at Master Control. I'm producer Shane. See you again tomorrow. This has been another edition of the Sick Podcast. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBie.tb, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.